Coming up on First at 4, the bill on medical marijuana is moving forward in Frankfort. We'll tell you where it currently stands. And one local business is raising money to give to the family of an 11-year-old who has an undiagnosed illness.
Plus, we're looking at some cold lows throughout the region. How low do we go? Well, that's coming up as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
A big step forward for those that want medical marijuana legalized in Kentucky. The bill was heard in a Senate committee for the first time, and it passed. Supporters say it looks promising that it may get out of the legislature in the final days of the session. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has the latest from Frankfort.
Medical marijuana has received a lot more support than it did when it was first proposed before the General Assembly about a decade ago. It could not get a vote in the Senate, even a hearing. That all changed today in a Senate committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
By an 8-3 vote, Senate Bill 47 passed out of the Senate Licensing and Occupations Committee. The bill is more than 150 pages long, but simply put, people suffering from cancer to chronic pain to PSD could use a pill or edible form, a non-smoking means of cannabis to treat those. It'll be highly regulated, and users would have to apply for a special card or permit to use it.
Medical cannabis relaxes my continuous, uncontrollable, violent muscle spasms. Medical cannabis relieves my constant, never-ending pain.
But some still believe the issue needs more study and testing. Many conservative groups are opposed to legalizing marijuana in any form.
There remains, in the view of many, insufficient scientific evidence that marijuana is an effective pain-relieving agent, and the National Institute on Drug Abuse considers marijuana to be an addictive gateway drug.
Time is running short, but supporters are hopeful that this bill will get to the full House. They are saying that it's likely to happen possibly the final 2 days of the session, March 29th and 30th. They also say there's more support in the House now than there was when it was first proposed. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
If made law, the bill will not go into effect until January 2025 to give police, health leaders, and others time to put the plan into motion. A controversial bill is moving forward in Frankfort. House Bill 470 would ban virtually all gender-affirming medical care for trans youth in Kentucky. During a committee meeting this morning, we learned that bill has undergone some significant changes. Jeremy Toms has more on that from Frankfort.
A very different version of House Bill 470 came before a Senate committee Tuesday morning. The original focus was fixated on gender-affirming care for transgender children, but it's been broadened to include several other topics, and they're now calling it the Do No Harm Act. But LGBTQ advocates say that is exactly what it will do.
This bill condemns vulnerable children to an even more difficult life than they've already been born into. Don't let a parent's right to protect their children be collateral damage in the culture wars.
House Bill 470 now includes all of Senate Bill 150, Max Wise's bill on use of pronouns, as well as language about banning lessons on gender and sexuality and setting school bathroom policies. Former GOP state rep Jerry Miller came back to Frankfort to testify today. He says this bill would directly affect his 7-year-old trans grandchild.
Do I wish he were a, quote, normal boy? Absolutely, yes. But regardless of anything, I'm going to love my grandchild and fight for what I think is best for Jonah.
Medical professionals and lobbyists came to testify on both sides, with bill sponsor Representative Jennifer Decker calling on multiple people who say the gender-affirming care they received has caused them irreversible harm. Senate Republicans largely said they were troubled by the bill or even didn't like it. But when it came down to it, they all voted yes except for Stephen Meredith, meaning House Bill 70 passed by a 6-3 vote.
There's certainly pros and cons for this either way, but again, my vote is no because I think the decision needs to rest with the parent.
I'm going to vote aye, but with the understanding that I'm going to pursue changes on the floor to address the concerns I've expressed and that others have expressed here today. I don't think the bill should come to the floor the way it's written today. And I'd vote no if it comes to the floor the way it's written today.
In Frankfort, Jeremy Toms, WKYT.
Well, that's going on in Frankfort. We'll have more coming up at 5:30 and 6.
Cold and cloudy for many still this afternoon. We continue to see overcast in many locations as even colder air is on the way tonight. Here's the view from UVA-wise. Overcast and 28, the current reading. In Southwest Virginia, Buffalo Mountain here in Perry County, we're starting to see the first few breaks in the clouds, bringing some sunshine. That's what's helped boost temperatures into the 40s across portions of the Cumberland Valley, but still many of us within a degree or two of freezing at this point. Couple of snow showers still in our eastern counties, not perhaps all of this reaching the ground, but we still do have some of that as we head down 119 through Pikeville and back over toward Jenkins and even toward Cumberland as well, and that crosses the Kentucky-Virginia border as well. Everything here pushing off to the east and the south and east. This little disturbance is all that's left. We continue to see dry skies further out to the west. So next 12 hours, I think we'll see some clearing out there, mid-30s. Falling into the 20s, a hard freeze likely as we head through tonight. Details on when we warm up at least a little bit in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. One Mingo County, West Virginia restaurant is cooking up something special tonight, using its servers to serve a student in need. Three Guys Pizza is slicing off some charity for the family of 11-year-old Maddie Newsom, a Williamson elementary student who is currently battling an undiagnosed illness that has left her paralyzed below the shoulders. While she's in a hospital bed, her community is standing for her. Three Guys Pizza and Brew is bringing in her friends to work as volunteer servers tonight, using their tips to support the family's medical bills.
Anybody can use a little bit of help, and our community is great at coming together and supporting members of the community. And it's just going to be a good time tonight, chance to support Maddie.
The special servers are taking charge at 5 o'clock, and it is pie day, so if you're planning for dinner, try pizza pie for Maddie. The Justice Department is suing Rite Aid for reportedly violating the Controlled Substances Act and contributing to the opioid epidemic. The lawsuit claims the DOJ says from May 2014 to June 2019, Rite Aid knowingly filled unlawful prescriptions for controlled substances with red flags. The combination was known as the Trinity and included excessive quantities of drugs like oxycodone and fentanyl. The Justice Department says these prescriptions were issued illegally and without a medical purpose. The complaint also accuses Rite Aid of intentionally deleting internal notes about suspicious prescribers. Tomorrow, a federal judge in Texas will be holding a hearing on the biggest abortion-related case since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last year. The issue is about medication abortion. Anti-abortion advocates sued the Food and Drug Administration about medication used in that process. The lawsuit is seeking several actions, including an injunction ordering the FDA to drop its approval of the drug. That would essentially block its use nationwide, at least temporarily. Reproductive rights advocates who are in favor of the medication say if the judge sides with the plaintiffs, it would eliminate the most commonly used method of abortion care.